I mean, about the Cowboys on down on theirs. If they were just going to increase it by about $2 million.
Media production, live internet broadcasting production, live streaming the future today. Feel the power of distant learning. For those of you that don't know, those two phrases are the motto of our program. Live streaming the future today. Who are the future? You. On that list, I want you guys to study the description of each role, because each one of you need to understand what goes on in front of the camera and behind the camera within each one of those roles, because each one of you will operate in that role at some point in time. How many of you don't want to host? Because all of y'all I know all of y'all would like to be on camera at some point in time, but how many of y'all don't want to host? Wow, everybody wants to be a host. Nobody wants to operate the camera. What do you want to do? So what do you enjoy about operating the camera?
Just being behind it.
For those of you that don't know, most people that work in production, you make a lot of money. Sometimes you make more money than on-air personalities. Why? Because you're doing all of the work. You're doing all of the behind-the-scenes work to prep those individuals for them to be on the air. So that's why it's good for you guys to learn both sides of what goes on in front of the camera and what goes on behind. It's more importantly to know what goes on behind the scenes, because that's where all the preparation comes from. In that, we're going to show you guys how to teach. We're going to teach you guys how to connect with individuals when you book your guests for your shows, when you are writing the script or the outline for each show, what's supposed to be in each segment, how to time each segment. All of those things will happen. But first, you need to understand what each role is. So I want you guys to look over those roles and responsibilities within each description. And then your assignment this week is going to be, how many of you own at least a tablet or a laptop or have access to a computer? Y'all have access to it. Do all of you have a camera on that?
How about how many of you do not?
That's a better question. How many of you don't? Awesome. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to set up your own live streaming account on streammyevents.com. Your assignment is going to be to make at least 2 videos a week. It can be on any topic, but we need to get you guys comfortable with being in front of the camera. For instance, Savion, you could be your rapper of the week. So boy, you could talk about what you're looking forward to in the upcoming basketball season. Isaiah, we know you can talk about a plethora of things. Isaiah and Isaac really get together, and they can really go back and forth. But which brings me to my next point. These two will be the leaders over this assignment. They are going to make sure that you guys understand how to set it up and how to make sure that you're comfortable in front of the camera. So during this week, you will have to contact each one of your team members to make sure that they understand the assignment and that they are doing it. Because guess who's checking it? Myself and Mr. Bernard. This season, we're getting back to the basics. We'll focus on these 5 principles, and I need everyone to pay close attention to this. Preparedness, which is training and research. Your personality, which is your image, your style, understanding you. Being personable, communication and connecting. Your etiquette, the do's and don'ts in media, or the do's and don'ts, period, in any situation. Your confidence, which is going to incorporate enhancing your strengths and building your weakness. And then the bonus principle is teamwork makes the dream work. Understanding how to work as a team using all 5 principles within a team. Remember these principles. need Jabari and Isaac, front and center. Bring your chairs up here for me.
I'm on the chair. And right now, I am signing up for OCC now. Operation Community Care and Police Athletic League. When you sign up for these, you can be a part of everything that normal kids don't get the chance of. All thing you have to do is sign up at www.occpal.me.
Somebody referred to the New England Patriots when they won their first Super Bowl. I can tell you who they played. They played the Rams. And it was, matter of fact, it was the second time the Rams were going to the Super Bowl. They had won 2 years ago. And they had the greatest show on turf. But the thing about the New England Patriots, they played a team defensive game and they shut down Kurt Warner. And they won the game on a field goal by Adam Vinatieri as time elapsed in the fourth quarter. But, you know, first team in Super Bowl history, when they do the starting announcements of the team, they usually, one team, they announce the starting defense, all 11 players, or the starting offense. New England decided to come out as a team. They didn't do announcements, they came out as a team, and they played as a team. And Tom Brady, who was a backup quarterback to Bledsoe, who had took over the middle of the year, won his first Super Bowl. And look at Tom Brady last year, he won his fourth Super Bowl. So that was the beginning of the dynasty of the New England Patriots. Okay? Any questions? That was just off the top of my head, didn't know I was coming. If you're gonna be in this industry, you gotta be a walking encyclopedia. You have to know the facts. You have to know all sports. I know about tennis. I knew about tennis before there was a Serena Williams playing. She wasn't the first black person to be successful playing women's tennis. There was a lady out of Texas named Sina Garrison. As a matter of fact, she won a match against Martina Navratilova in the US Open. She upset her in the quarterfinals. You can go Google her and find out about Sina Garrison. She was a good player. She just didn't have that extra exposure like Serena and Venus had. So there's 4 points to things. Be well-rounded about all sports. Know all sports, know all topics. Whatever you're going to talk about, be well-rounded in it. Because see, if you know what you need to know, people are going to want to hear you. If you know facts, it'll make room for you to get more interviews. If you sit down and interview a person and you pull something out that they've never had pulled out when somebody's interviewed them, you're going to get their attention. So know who you're going to interview. Believe in yourself. Have passion about what you do. You can wake me up at any time. You can ask me a question about sports, I'll have an answer. Because it's my passion. I've been watching it all since I've been growing up. Know a whole lot of things about it. I have a lot of passion in my heart. I saw, when I was growing up, I was in an era where people played sports for the love of the game. We used to get on the basketball court and we used to dream about playing in the NBA, but not because they were paying millions of dollars, because we wanted to play among the best. And even playing Little League Baseball, we were trying to play so well that we got selected to the All-Star team. Because being a part of the All-Star team is something special. It means that you're as good as anybody in your league, and you're getting recognized as one of the better players. So it's been a passion thing. It's contributing to a team. It's doing the best that you can with your personal ability, and it's just a passion burning on the inside to be successful at something. Watch sports since I was a young child. Watch baseball games, all-star games. I can tell you all-stars. Watch basketball all-star games. All kind of stuff. Just had a passion for it. It drew me in. And I learned, when I sat and watched the television, those thoughts, those memories were etched in my mind. People now that do things in the industry, they have what they call a crack staff. They have somebody on the internet picking up, finding facts about it. I don't need a computer. I saw the game. It's in here. I saw the game. I got a computer here. They're Googling stuff about who's the best fighter of all time. Well, I've seen people like Sugar Leonard. You know, Floyd Mayweather is pretty good. He's 49-0. But what would he have did 20 years ago? Would he be undefeated if he fought 30 years ago? You need to know that. How would he fare against a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard or Marvin Hagler? Thomas Hearns? You gotta know those names. You gotta know how people transcend generations and be able to intelligently speak about it. you need to do your research. Because this is before your time. I saw the fights, but some things I reached back before my time. I picked up books that interest me, and I read about them. So you need to be well versed on it.
I'm gonna talk about basketball, Chicago, actually, Chicago Bulls. Jimmy Butler. You know, he has transcended his playing talents to a whole nother level. You know, the way he came out playing offense, averaging over 20 points a game, and still doing good on defense, but not as good as he was before. So, do you think the Jimmy Butler that dominates on defense, or the Jimmy Butler that's good on offense but isn't the defensive player of the year contender is more important to the Bulls?
Well, I think that the current Jimmy Butler that can contribute offensively is more important. Even though he may not be a lockdown defender all game, he's able to in the last minutes of the game, be that lockdown defender. The Bulls were starved for offense, so they needed him to step up and play some offense. Because offensively, though he was defensively standout, he was a liability. And when you're playing offense 4 on 5, it's a negative. His lack of scoring kind of hindered them in the way that it would be him not being able to defend. So now when he stepped up his offense, he could serve energy on defense, but near the end of the game, and it was shown in some of the playoff games last year, he stepped it up and made some stops near the end of the game to play some tough defense. So it needs to be a little bit of a balance on both of those.
So what put him into place to change his level of play to become more of an offensive player to a defensive player?
I believe that he wanted to add more value to his personal brand, what he was bringing to the team. And in many situations, Derrick Rose, and this is why Derrick Rose got injured, he was carrying a big load of scoring. There was a time that Derrick Rose, before he got injured, would average, when he was MVP somewhere, in some games have 35 to 40 points a game. That's a lot of one guy to carry. And Jimmy Butler came on later than that, but he wanted to add value to his brand, whether he played with the Bulls or not. He wanted to let potential teams that would sign him after his initial contract was over know that he could play two-way basketball. So he added value to his personal brand, which in turn added value to the Bulls. So that's why he was able to get the contract that he got this last summer, because the Bulls looked at him as a future contributor to what they're trying to do as a team as a whole.
Okay, so Jimmy Butler just recently turned 26. I'm sorry, but I have to disagree with you. I think Jimmy Butler, he'll still have to do good on offense, probably like dropping 15 points a game, 3-4 dimes. But what I really think they need more out of him is the defense, because they have Taj Gibson and Hakeem Noah down low. But they don't have any perimeter players that you can see step up and guard a LeBron James possession after possession after possession. So if he decides to contribute more on offense, they're losing on defense, because Derrick Rose, he's not as good as he once was. Mike Dunleavy, he's not even as good as he once was. Doug McDermott not gonna play defense, and Nikola Mirotic is not gonna play defense at all. So if Jimmy Butler, all of the people that I just named, they can score. So
Well, Joakim Noah struggles scoring, but go ahead, make your point.
But
Finish what you're saying.
But anyway, they have enough offensive weapons to do an offense by committee, but they don't have enough defensive weapons to where Jimmy Butler can take the possession off and not play defense. So Jimmy Butler needs to dominate on defense for the Chicago Bulls to be successful.
I understand what you're saying, but there were times in the season last year when they played, well, the year before last, when Rose was injured, that the Bulls would go 5 minutes without scoring the field goal. Jimmy Butler was defending them. You need to be able to have a guy from the perimeter that's able to knock down a shot. The thing with Butler, in past situations, when teams played the Bulls, they didn't guard him. They knew he couldn't shoot from the perimeter. Because now he's able to shoot and drive, you have to play 5 on 5. You can't play 4 on 5 and have a guy play the passing lane. So he needs to be a threat on offense as well as a threat on defense. And it took some energy away from the defensive end. But if you look at the numbers, the Bulls' scoring went up last year because he was contributing to scoring. they had struggled for 4 years without being able to get out of the 80s in scoring average for playing, and that's getting eliminated in the second round in the playoffs.
Well, also, you talked about the Bulls having other offensive players that can also score, but the offensive players that can score aren't initiators. There are players who can play around and just have a good offensive game. When Derrick Rose got hurt, Jimmy Butler was the only other person who can initiate the offense. Without an initiator, then you can't really do anything because the offense is just sitting still waiting on somebody to take a leading role. So with Jimmy Butler taking a leading role, this offensive game had to step up. Both offensive and defensive is important. You saw when the Bulls played the Cavs in the playoffs, Jimmy Butler played both roles. He played good defense on LeBron. And I mean, LeBron is a great player, so of course that took away a lot of his energy. But as you saw, Jimmy Butler tried to play both ways. So just because he has a great offensive game doesn't mean he can't have a good defensive game. He just also needs to be that starting player who also leads on offense. Because Derrick Rose, after coming off an injury, of course, Derrick Rose isn't the same as he was when he won an MVP title in 2011. So now, Derrick Rose can also just be the person who leads on offense. He also has to have help to make the Bulls be better than what they really want to be.
And let me illustrate my point when I'm saying illustrate my point. We looked at the finals last year with the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Golden State Warriors. Andre Iguodala is known around the league as a defender, but in that series he stepped his offense up. There was a game where he scored 27 points. As a defender, he knew that they needed to score. He ended up winning the MVP of the whole NBA playoffs because he shows some versatility. And I understand what you're saying. You do need lockdown defenders. You do need lockdown defenders. But Butler is able to play through certain possessions. Smart defenders, even LeBron James does it. They don't take off defensive possessions, but they don't give it the gusto all the time. They'll lay off and they'll rest a little bit on defense, but when the game is on the line, you know LeBron is going to defend. But there are some possessions where LeBron is not going to fight through that screen because he doesn't want to expend that energy, because he knows he needs to score. Butler took it upon himself to be a perimeter scorer that the Bulls didn't have. Now, the Bulls did add Paul Gasol. They have no one that's energy down low. Taj can score, but they didn't have that second perimeter offensive player, and that's why he stepped his game.
With the bigs that he was just explaining, that helps the defense actually. So with Jimmy defense on the perimeter, having both Paul Gasol and Joakim Noah in the post, that helps the defense. Like for big guys who mostly come in, because you have a lot of guys who drop in the league now. So also with them trying to come in, that's big post players right there. Also saying Todd Gibson coming off the bench, so that's good defense still.
Okay. So you're talking about the finals. You also have to think about it this way. The Golden State Warriors, they changed their whole defensive plan to overpower and be faster than the Cavaliers. Because the Cavaliers, they tried a small lineup. That didn't work. When the Warriors did it, they set a whole new tone for the whole league. And that's why you have Anthony Davis working on his three-point shot. Draymond Green, he can really, all the smack he's been talking, he can talk smack because last year he won a championship. A lot of people thought he should have won the Defensive Player of the Year. But when you think about it, their defense and the bigs that play defense, because no lie, that whole finals, Steph Curry, he was hot at moments, but that series, him and Klay Thompson were not on.
True.
It was the defense that helped them get past the stretches when they weren't making their shots.
True.
Which was perimeter defense. 5, who you listed, Andre Iguodala and Draymond Green.
Yeah. And what you're saying is true. You need to be able to guard people. But as Andre Iguodala in that game 6, when the game was on the line, he was able to step up and hit some shots. And also in game 5, or game 4 or 5, hit some shots in that game. The only thing I'm saying is be capable to score. Don't just be a fifth player that can't do any offensive, can't even have any offensive impact. And Butler wanted to be an offensive impact player because he wanted to be able to be relevant on the floor. He didn't want to be a person that could not score. And defense wins championships, as you said. But Iguodala was able to score when you had those open threes. Because if he couldn't shoot, they would have kept on letting him shoot the open threes. And Golden State would have lost that series.
That's true. That's true. And the season before, last season, Jimmy Butler turned down like a 4-year, $48 million contract because he bet so much on his offensive game, which was a good bet. Because now he's getting paid. He's getting paid pretty good. And because I was reading something, he said it was like, what he did before, he tried to give his best on offense and give his best on defense. But what I think it is, if he can learn what possessions to give his best, like say it's a momentum changing shot, the team has went on, the opposing team has went on a 10-0 run. If he can learn when to play defense and who not to play defense on, because say LeBron's the best player, but on the Cavs, say J.R. Smith was just dropping crazy threes like he was last year. So that possession, you may want to back off LeBron because he's not making nothing. And then put on J.R. Smith because he's making everything he shoots. And what he's doing is he needs to learn what possessions to play defense on, who to play defense on, and what possessions on offense he can really just, pass it down low. He has Paul Gasol down there. Or just swing it out for a shot to Mike Dunleavy.
Well, you saying who to pass it to, who to play defense on. That depends on a lot of factors. Basketball is a strategy, and who to play defense on depends on the strategy. You saying like if LeBron isn't on, then go play on somebody who is on, like J.R. Smith. Well, if you look at both of the players, there's a huge size difference in between both of those players. If you take them off LeBron and put somebody else that's smaller on LeBron, because J.R. Smith is a guard. So
is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, so whoever is guarding J.R., if Jimmy Butler was on LeBron, whoever is guarding J.R. is most likely smaller than Jimmy is. So if they switch, that makes the matchup even worse, which gives LeBron more opportunity of doing better in the game. So basically, that changes the whole game set, because if LeBron isn't on, that just gives him an opportunity to get on, which helps the team in a better way.
Let me add to that. That was a good observation. Both of you had some valid points. The thing about Jimmy Butler is that he's going to get the toughest assignment. He's going to walk in the gym and he's going to be the lockdown defender on their best offensive guard. Their best offensive guard, he's going to lock them down. Now, if LeBron's game is off at times, these are the possessions that Jimmy can rest. If LeBron is deferring to somebody else, he doesn't have to expend as much energy, which gives him the ability to expand energy on offense to make differences. And my case in point is in that series against Cleveland, down in certain games when the Bulls pulled those victories out, they were able to defend LeBron. And Jimmy Butler did a good job on LeBron in those latter stages, because he could take some possessions where he would not have to expend that much energy because LeBron was deferring because his shot wasn't going. So he's going to get the toughest assignment on the perimeter of whoever the team he's playing. If he's playing against, if he's going to play against Golden State, he's going to draw, because of his size, he's probably going to draw Klay Thompson. And Rose is going to guard, Curry, yes, because he's small, he can guard him a little better. But Butler is going to get that toughest assignment. He's going to draw that tough scoring guard, or that tough mid-sized small forward that he can guard. He can get up there and guard. And on those possessions where he's that guard or that forward is deferring, then Butler can back off and get a little rest on those possessions.
That's true.
Okay.
Oh.
That was good. You know what? That was really good. I love the fact, because sports is an opinionative commentation, and each one of you, what I was listening to more than anything, each one of you was listening effectively to the other person, and you were responding based upon what the other person was saying with your own opinion, and you stuck with your opinion. And just like you see SportsCenter, just like you see ESPN, they lead with their own opinion, and until the facts come out, and then next thing you know, they find out who was right at the end. So I think that was great. I think that, yeah, we're gonna talk. We're gonna definitely talk.
You guys did a great job.
And I just want to say to the room,
Great job.
if you
That's
look
knowledge.
at the 6 principles, if y'all look at what they just did, they displayed each and every one of them. So those principles are at work. And the number one thing that Mr. Cherry pointed out when he said you guys were listening to each other, what principle do y'all think that is? Look at the paper and tell me what principle you think that is.
Great job. Great job.
Oh,
Being personable.
yeah, personality. No, I think it's. No, yeah, it is being personable. Well, it could
Say it
be-
again, Isaiah.
Etiquette.
And why is it etiquette?
Showing respect.
Which is a do and a don't. How many times have y'all seen people debate, go back and forth, and they step on each other without respectively listening to what the other person says, and then sometimes it turns emotional, and then it turns into something totally different when it wasn't even supposed to start out that way. So that displays etiquette. So as much as it may not be so much about, well, you should do this and you should do that, it's not about being so quote unquote proper in what you do. Sometimes etiquette has to do with just respect. So, good job.
Or can I say something funny? Young people, take advantage of this. This is a gold mine. And you really don't understand. You really don't understand. You're getting a chance to sit across from one another and sharpen one another's skills. And it's like you said, internships. You shouldn't, if you're at a certain age where you can get the internship, you shouldn't go somewhere without having an internship. Everybody else can be out doing crazy stuff. You need to be getting some schooling under you. You need to be getting opportunities under you. Even if you walk around and carry the cord while they're filming you, you might want to be on camera. But if you're willing to carry the cord in production and let them film people that's on camera, and while you're carrying that cord, you're peeping in at what the on-camera person is doing. Because all you want to do is be in the room. It's about exposure. You need to see what the pros do. You need to see how it's set up. You need to go do an internship in production, even if you want to be on camera. Because you need to know what it takes to do a show. You need to know that Sports Center, we see the guy behind the podium or the guy behind the desk, but it's other people on the other side of that camera that wrote those stories that's on the telephone. You need to learn every facet, because now we talked about Jimmy Butler being more viable because he became an offensive player. You're going to be well-rounded and you're going to have more market value. You're going to be able to go into a situation and be an editor until you get a chance to get on camera. You want to be in the room, being exposed to the big picture of production. It's a big picture. Just let me in as an intern and carry the cord or
runner.
Go get the coffee. Just to be in the
Really?
room.
Environment.
Really?
Just to be in the room.
Really?
So I can see it go. So I can see the guys like Stuart Scott Woods, and see him work. See the different guys that's out there.
What would you have done if this was in middle school for you?
Oh, if this would have been in school, you would have saw me on Sports Center as an 8-time Emmy winner. And I'm serious about that, because I didn't get the enroll. I went to college and went to a university, and they weren't talking about you getting on camera. They said, get your degree and go into broadcast sales. Why am I here? You can't give me an internship, you don't have a studio, but now the school has a studio now. They actually have a DJ in Chicago that comes in and trains the people. If I was just there a few years ago, you would have been on radio. I've been on radio. But you have the opportunity that I don't have. And that's why I didn't have. That's why I'm saying you need to be here and prepared every time. These two young men know their stuff. They knew what they were talking about. They knew it. They can hold a conversation. They can sit on Sports Center now with that conversation. I see some dudes on TV. I'm looking at them like, man, who did you know to get here? I'm serious. Who did you know? Whose uncle has the ability to get you on? Because you don't know what you're talking about. But this is a gold mine. If you come in here and stretch yourself, you're gonna stretch each other. You need to, you be looking at the profession in a different way. You ought to start thinking about what college you want to go to. And because when you get to college and you have this advantage walking on the campus, and you'll be on the radio at that campus, on their radio, on their local station, covering their sporting events or covering their other events. They might be having a fashion show at the university. It might be homecoming weekend. They might have their step show going on. You're doing fashion. You gotta get the focus on. Start checking out some things like, some different things like when Ebony has a fashion fair. If you can see one coming locally here, go to Ebony Fashion Fair and check out what they got going on. Whenever there's events where they're doing makeup and stuff, that goes along with fashion. Get in, be on it. Be around, have a buzz, know your industry. Whatever it is, know your industry. And be ready. Because you're gonna get the opportunity. And when you get it, you need to nail it. You need to nail it. You need to be ready. This is a gold mine. Say it, this is a gold mine.
Keep
I
saying
got a
it.
question.
Sure.
If these guys continue living in this area, what major should they major in college? Or what?
They can do a lot. You can major in communications, you can radio and television production. It's a whole lot of different media outlets nowadays. There's different things available than when I was coming up. You can learn, you can major in broadcast, but minor in some other things where you get some business under you. You can get some other things where you're learning how to brand yourself and market yourself. Get a well-rounded education. When you take your elective courses, don't blow any courses. Don't have an elective where you're shooting basketball for 2 hours or taking aerobics or something, because they offer that at university. Don't waste your time. Get some well-rounded ability. Get versed in political science, because you may want to get into sports, but you might end up being a news anchor. And you might end up being on CNN talking to the politicians that's running for office in 2034. Get some back. Yes. Get well-rounded in broadcasting, because you have to be flexible in it. You might want to be in sports, but you might be sent to cover a human interest story. So you need to be ready.
And just to add to what you're saying, the advantage that each and every one of you have, that I think everyone above the age of 20, I'll say even 25, didn't have,
Right.
is the internet.
Yes.
You guys have more freedom to make your own way outside of what the system and society has taught the adults in this room to do. This is a freedom of expression, art, and you guys have a little bit more flexibility to make your own way. I don't know if you guys were here or if we talked about it in the last meeting, but there was a young man that came to us this summer who goes to Columbia University. That is an Ivy League school, and they have a very great communications or film program that he is in. Do you know that he has not touched a camera? And he is a junior. That's when you're a junior, you're into your major at that point. When he saw what we were doing, he said they weren't doing anything like that. And Mr. Chair could go a little bit more into the
I
explanation.
mean, all y'all stole everything I was gonna say. I wrote it down. Come on, man.
But I'm saying that to say, with the second part of the assignment, social media, the news source of today, where we're showing you how to promote yourself, use that tool. Don't just use it to crack your jokes and do whatever. People are using that to their advantage. When he was saying you need to know both sides of the camera, how many of you know who Anderson Cooper is?
There you go.
Okay. Do y'all know how he got started in the business? He took his own camera and started traveling. Now granted, he had his own funding because his mother is Gloria Vanderbilt, if y'all know who that is. She's part of the Vanderbilt, which is one of the more prominent families in this country. But anyway, I digress. I'm saying all that to say, he wanted to make his own way. So he learned how to use his own camera, he learned how to set it up, and he started doing what they call iReporting, which is now what each and every one of CNN's field, quote unquote, field reporters do. They don't rely upon somebody having a camera person, a sound guy, somebody holding the mic and holding the camera. Each and every one of them go out there, they set up their own tripod, their own camera, get in front of it and record. And when you have all of that, can't nobody take that from you. Nobody.
Self-entitlement. You get your automobile car and you paid it. It's your car, so you're entitled to that car. Now, as a student, you have a parent and you say, Dad, I want you to give me a car. That's self-entitlement. And you're not willing to work for it.
Right.
When we went to the Mega Fest, Robbie Reed, and I'm going to keep saying this every time we come here, she said something. This is a producer for BET, a casting producer who was ready to cast you guys. And she said something. She said, when you come here, research. Once you've done your research, we're going to know. And that's what we're looking for, those individuals who have done the research. There's a lot of agencies across the state. I want you to look at this board. I want you to imagine an agency in every state. But I want you to look at California right here in the middle. These agencies, in New York and Atlanta, these agencies are all connected to these locations. Because there's casting agencies who are producers, directors who are looking for actors, artists like you guys are. They're all connected. That's why we don't have a board. So just imagine, just put into your mind. Let's say that you go to an agency in Dallas, and they say, oh my God, we have a part for you, and it's in California. And the person who's casting that is Robbie Reed. When Miss Robbie Reed stated to you guys, you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to an agency. You guys are the cream of the crop. And if we're looking to pick within your crop, within your team, then that means we don't have to look for you in all of the different states. We're looking at you guys first. But you gotta do the research. And if she said, got a call from Otis, the guy from the Mayweather camp. Do the guys know Floyd Mayweather, all of his fights? I can't say that they do. What are you waiting on? What are they waiting on? Research is important. Like she said, you never know when you're going to get that call. When you get that call, you have to be ready. But just like he said, it was a passion of his, so he studied. I don't know if he studied day and night, but as much knowledge guys have, I'm sure he studied day and night. And how did he get time to get some rest? But he studied. If this is your passion, you have the opportunity to be in a movie. Now, we shared with you guys a while back, and we said, before we even, now keep in mind, you got clubs all around this country. Just in Dallas alone, there's tons and tons of clubs. You guys have progressed in 1 year more than all these clubs probably in 10 or 15 years. And they're still trying to figure out, what did you guys do different? It's nothing that we had to do. We just got a great talented group of guys who already pretty much study what it is that they love.
Got it.
And ladies. Right. Yeah, appreciate it. So the only thing that we're doing is we're saying, don't feel a self of entitlement. Because since you already know it, you still got to continue to study, and nobody is going to give it to you. They're going to, and when you come to that decision, who it is that, because we asked this last season, who it is that you want to come interview, let us know, and we'll get the interview lined up for you. I don't remember anybody coming to me. I don't remember anyone coming to her. Yes.
I want to interview the one.
Okay, okay. do you have your research on Lil Wayne?
I know Lil Wayne. I studied him since I was a little kid.
Okay.
Come on.
So maybe you went in that class. But we ask these individuals, if this is what you're looking for, let us know. We'll get that set up for you. Nobody came to us.
I did.
Who'd you want?
Dwayne.
You got Dwayne.
Exactly.
Okay. You know what I'm saying. But even from the perspective of, I mean, you did an interview with Ray Lewis. I don't even know if you really grasped when he said to you, when you shook his hand and he said, you said something about his handshake or something, and he said, remember this handshake?
I feel like you gonna remember that.
You gonna remember that? And you say, yes, I am. He said that because he know the statue it is that he holds, the history, the legacy it is that it's hold. And for you to say, I shook the hand of Ray Lewis and was able to interview him speaks volume.
Wow.
And that goes back to what he was talking about, marketing. You guys are branding yourself. What they're looking for to see if you're ready, if you're prepared, and if you guys are not nervous when it's time for you to step on top of your game. Today we did see illustration of these guys who was not nervous. Jabbar, I like your haircut, buddy. Yeah. But everybody was ready. Everybody was on point. So I just want to say that and another thing he was saying, look at this as an opportunity of a lifetime. Even if this is not even what you want to do. Let me tell you why. Because you never know the people that you may meet in doing what it is that you're doing. So if you want to do technology and you're doing entertainment, once you get to that level, hey, you know what, I know this guy who's doing technology, I took it in college, oh my God, hey, let me connect you with that person. Every adult, I guarantee you, wants to connect you guys with someone that they know, especially because you're African American.
Amen.
And they want to invest in you guys more than you would ever imagine. But we're not going to send you out there if you're not prepared, because you're one big group. And I would say this also, connect with each other.
Really?
You guys got to become closer than close. You guys have to believe in each other. You guys got to say, I'm supporting, when Savion have a show and he's going to be rapping or something like that, all of you guys need to be there to support him.
For real.
I am my brother's keeper. I am my sister's keeper. Anything that anybody in this group is doing, you have to support them. And let me share this with you also. In life, there's going to be good things and there's going to be bad things that's going to happen in your life. Don't lose focus. Because in everybody's life, guess what? Even as adults, we may not sit down and talk with you as, you know, as our sons and daughters and everything, but I guarantee you mom and dad is bothered with a whole lot of things that's going on in their life. And it's not our responsibility to put that all on you guys, but at the same point, you're going to be bothered with things too. Only thing we want you to do is just say, I can't allow that to affect what it is that I'm going to do in my path to success, because your door is closing fast. Maybe not yours. Your door is closing fast. If you're 16, you probably got about 2 more years. Because once you become 18 years old, guess what? You're in the same circle as all these graduates who have already graduated. And I share with her all the time, I said, you know what, when people graduate, I don't really get excited for them, I get sad. I'm like, all these people graduating this whole country, what are you going to do next? And if you haven't studied your craft at the age of 14, 15, and 16, which that opportunity, that door is wide open where so many other people are able to push you closer because now you have the experience, that door is going to close fast. You don't want to be in a group with 1,000 people versus now you guys are the cream of the crop. All these 1,000 people are here, and here you guys are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 people. And they're picking you guys first. Know what it is that you have. This is not only a gold mine, this is a golden mine. An opportunity of a lifetime. Something you will not get anywhere. And just to pick it back off of what it was that she was saying, when Xavier came over here and went to the Columbia University in New York, that's a very prominent college. And he was pissed. He was angry because he saw what it is that you guys had to the point where he almost quit school. Because he said, this is what I want to do. But they're not giving us that opportunity. Don't quit school, brother. Get your education. Because once you get your education, we're always going to be here. And then when you come back, you'll be able to do hands-on, just like what it is that they're doing. And now you have more experience than you guys, because now you got the education and you got the hands-on. Right now, you guys just have the experience. But the experience that you guys have will take you to a whole nother level if you take this serious. If this is what you want, we're gonna see it. If this is what you gonna want, this brother right here is gonna see it. Expect to see more of this brother right here.
We will see more.
Follow-up question.
BPN TV. BPN TV. It is, okay, we're gonna give you a chance. BPN TV,
I thought it
channel.
was BPEN.
Okay, well, okay. What is it?
BPEN.
Not like I said, I said it again.
BPEN.
TV, there you go, I like it. BPEN
There you go.
TV, channel 30.8. This is crazy, man. That's why I say it's crazy. For someone to say to you guys, we want to put you on our TV channel, which you guys have been on there now, repeatedly. Every week they're showing you guys throughout the whole Saturday. And they're saying, we're putting you on here for free. We're not going to charge you guys.
That's unheard of.
I need to go get my wire.
Just, I mean, I just want you guys to see, and when I talked to C.W. Whitaker, he's saying, bro, I think he even met us, we saw him one day going inside the store, and we saw him going inside the store. He just had to shake Isaac and Isaiah's hand and was like, just stay focused. Because kids your age, he said, we see them just doing violent things, and they only care about this, they only care about that, but to do what it is that you guys are doing, and to even have the opportunity, have the opportunity to be youth activists.
Exactly.
You're not just talking sports.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about what's going on in society as youth activists.
Exactly.
Dude,
Absolutely.
hey, why I feel that you back is real.
See?
Right
If this is being televised, you guys are talking about what's going on inside of the community. You're standing up for the adults who can't stand up for themselves and for the youth who do not have a voice.
Absolutely.
Guess who they're gonna choose
Absolutely.
when they're looking for someone who's talking about the way our economy is and this and this and this? Guess who they're going to choose when they need that person for someone to go into office at a very young age? Mr. NAACP.
Yeah.
But guess what you've already done?
Hey, I mean, open, hey, that's key.
BPNT services over 11 million households. So guess how many people are already watching you and say, we gotta vote for him.
Right.
Because he's been doing it ever since he was 16, 15, 17, 18.
Before then, right?
They already know who you are.
That's what's up.
This is an opportunity of a lifetime. And with this brother right here, what we want to do with him also is give him the opportunity to say, my dream has not ended. It's only beginning.
Right, right.
Because with this wealth of knowledge, why can't we put him right next to those who are, what did I share with you? BP and TV are saying we want to create our own ESPN channel. And we want you guys to host the channel.
That's the goal.
Yes.
That's the goal. For real. Hey, you got
I don't know what else to
read
say.
forward. I'm sorry, y'all. You make the man on the spot. Read forward.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, guys.
No
We
more.
only have a little bit of time left.
Can I say one more thing? I'm sorry.
30 seconds.
Okay, it may be even shorter. Now what we did is we brought in someone who is a stylist, who's going to dress you up. Because when you're in front of that camera, you want a personality, but when people look at you, they already know that you're about business. So we brought into this facet an amazing, talented stylist who is about to dress you for success.
And her name
It's Shanika.
I just really just observing and seeing the different personalities. I can actually pull it out from just.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, weird.
That's fascinating.
And when you dress, it actually speaks for you. You don't really have to say anything.
Who let
you
you
know?
know?
No. That's swag. That's swag nowadays, mama. But I'm happy to be here and I'm ready to work. And we just believe in each other and we'll be good.
I want to make sure that when they step out, that they're on top of their game.
That's awesome.
But she said something that was even more important than that. She said she is in awe to see youth doing what it is that you guys are doing. Youth doing what you
Can you
guys
have the
are doing.
mothers?
I should find you so that you can see that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Does everybody have an Instagram?
Or how about this, who do not?
Oh, right.
Right.
Who does not have Instagram?
When that's the right Instagram name down.
I have a Twitter
I'm
gram.
gonna give y'all.
I'm sorry.
A Twitter gram.
Oh, that's the new
What's
one.
that?
What's your Twitter gram? You know, okay, this what it is.
Him, man, sorry.
Okay, Twitter gram.
Yeah.
It's Twitter and Instagram all in one. So check it, check it.
Him, man.
Check it.
Yeah.
Follow me. You got it? Alright, you got it? I know you got it. Alright, so check it. I'm tweeting out a picture.
Oh, yeah.
Check it. But check this out, check this out. Okay.
Where you going with it?
You're tweeting out a picture.
Okay.
You don't have followers or friends.
Okay.
You have but I'm not a web designer.
Yes, you just did.
You know what, you should coin that and had a copyright on that one, somebody.
For real.
No, you
They gonna do that, right?
I'm take it from don't take it.
Yeah.
And I'm a web designer.
wait, okay, I just want to say something.
We already know.
I have a question. This one's towards you. So this is about the style. Okay, you know, I'm very different. So, you know, I like to have the first.
Your style gonna stay the same.
No, hold on. Hold on real quick. I like to wear cowboy boots with basketball shorts and
Did you really just? With your swag, you can definitely. You need.
We have to be up to
and
something.
go up past my knee.
Like, thigh.
What, the boots?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that.
What? No. What you been watching, bro?
I'm sorry, I'll make her try. The first person to tell me all 6 principles will get $25.
Oh, that's a wrap.
I'll raise my hand first. I'll raise the price. No, but I'll raise my hand.
It's a boy.
So the first one is preparedness. Has that been a word?
Yes.
No, I don't want to confidence. Etiquette.
Already can do it.
No, don't do it, don't do it.
What is it?
First person to stand up.
Should there be a time limit on this, Rachel?
You got him on his phone. You looking on his phone.
Now, didn't you get in trouble for school? Time up.
Let's go. You about to fall. Okay. So
You got the phone.
yeah, we about to fall. So I stood up first.
Go ahead.
Okay, so confidence, preparedness, being personable.
That's a wrap.
No, I know you better know.
Being personable, confidence, etiquette, and personality.
Because you never know what we have in store for you. So that was this week's prize. So give it up for Jabari. This is all y'all here. That's all really got to do because you really helped out.
You rub me.
You gave her the last
All right.
They say you pay attention.
Do y'all have any questions? Do y'all have any questions? And I believe, Mr. Chair, you said you had.
But I don't have it on. Do you have it and I pay you afterwards? I promise I'll go to the bank.
You killed me. I
Just
think I do.
210.
So for
Or 20.
those persons that did turn in their schedules, which was Savion, Savoy, and Jabari.
Let's go.
I have 2 bars right here.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
All right, well, good job, everybody. Thank y'all so much. This was fun.